What's the word? What's the word?
Yeah. It is that time for the Bees of Boxing where we ask you the question, always like we do here, what's a work? Because it would seem like there was none of that. Everybody was putting in work this past weekend in boxing, and it leads us to some questions. First and foremost, this week we're going to talk about Daniel Dubois. Is he the biggest crybaby in the world right now? Does he need to steal Jarrell Miller's tagline? Yeah, I got some words about that. We're going to talk about a little bit of "We told you so" yet again when we're talking about Moses Itamu. We told you so. All right, remember that. Also got a question that I got to ask you, Steve, as we get this thing going. Is Andre Ward the biggest troll, or is he actually thinking about coming back to boxing? Now, before we get into all of that, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the man from across the land, Steve Swift, joining us once again, as always, to talk some boxing. Did you enjoy the boxing this weekend? Let's get that question first and foremost.
Extraordinary work. Yeah, I mean, looking at the card, I vouchsafed the information, but I thought it was a shite card, and then I thought that I thought that Ball and Goodman would work, and did, but that's not got the plaudits it deserved. However, I didn't think the Hrgovic and Adeleye match or fight would be anything, and I was wrong yet again.
Well, listen, before we get into that, because I want to ask you about that fight, because we're going to talk heavyweights here later on, and that'll be a great segue. What did you think? Special shout out Raymond Ford and his Tom and Jerry outfit that he wore for these fights, very specifically to say, you're not getting that. And you didn't. He was spectacular this past weekend. Watch that. Remember that name. Because, listen, not that his opponent was anything to shake a stick at. First of all, it's not very often that you see a brother with a blonde beard. So shout out to that man for just going out there like reverse Butch Reed style. It was fucking great. Loved every second of it. And the rest of the card, and that was probably, in my opinion, that was probably the weakest of the four fights. And it wasn't a weak fight at all. Because then you talked about, like you said, Nick Ball, Sam Goodman. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think those scores really indicated the way that fight was. What did you think about that?
I disagree. I thought that let me add a bit of a caveat, he said, pulling his phone closer to him. It needs to be close to my face, like everybody on this land. I thought that 111, 117, one of the cards wasn't it? I thought that was ridiculous. But I thought 113, 115 was fair enough, because I thought that in the early going, I thought Goodman really frustrated Ball, and Ball likes to dictate the pace. And Goodman said, "You're not with superior movement," and making sure he was out of range, and Ball not really being able to. And the commentary team were frustrated for him, which was great. It was all, well, he can do a lot better than this. and then I thought, go on.
And he did. He did in the later rounds. He absolutely did, right?
Yeah, he did.
Anyways, continue.
Well, I thought that he came back into it around 7-ish.
Okay.
And I thought that 9, 10, 11 were his. I thought he didn't move up a gear. I don't know whether Goodman just got tired, or whether Ball thought, "I've got your measure," or whether he just found his flow. But I think that he really took over. Not took over, that's wrong, because it was tighter than that. But I thought he showed his style in the last 3 rounds or so. Well, the 9th, 10th, 11th. And I thought he was good value for a very tight win. But not 117, 111. That's
No.
I don't know what fight they were watching.
I wouldn't have been mad if I saw that fight go the other way. Considering what Sam Goodman did at the beginning of that fight and those first rounds. Then it leads me to, then I started thinking in the later rounds, I said, oh, this is going to go to, if this goes to a decision, Sam's not winning this. And you know why, Steve? Because we talk about it, the business of boxing. And the business of boxing says that the champ has already beat one Mr. Goodman. And right away, Nick Ball afterwards, after doing this, because he retained his belt, and we're talking unifications, and who do you call out? You call out the big man. You call out Inoue, and you try to make that fight happen. Now, Inoue and Ball, I mean, let's go all day long. I honestly think this is a bad fight for Nick Ball, though, because if you talk about it, the monster hat, or he has not only the speed, he has the power to knock you out. Now, that being said, we've seen this in the last couple of fights. We've seen Inoue on his butt from much smaller guys than a Nick Ball. So Nick Ball does possess the ability to put him out. I'm intrigued as hell about that fight. I would love to see.
Yeah, and I think that Nick Ball needs to, his way is that he's a pressure fighter and smooth with it. And I think that he will need to take it to Inoue, but Inoue, as you say, is fast and precise. And we saw what Goodman did to Ball by being precise. So Ball's he's got to go away and have a look at his defense a little bit, and also go away and, well, I suppose he hasn't got to think about the patience. The only thing is that Inoue will put him down and out in a way that Goodman couldn't if he allows that to happen through 6 rounds or so.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you saw as well as I did. You saw there was a lot of times in that fight where Nick Ball was getting very frustrated, and he's jumping into stuff, like rushing into stuff that you know as well as I do. I mean, that's a Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo moment where you just eat that left. That is everything that Inoue dines on, is just rushing in like that. So he's definitely got to take a look at it, because, and really watch that fight, the Sam Goodman and Inoue. It was a hell of a fight. So boxing math pays out. Nick Ball better get some work in before doing that one. Now, then we move on to a heavyweight fight that, like you said earlier, holy smokes, unbelievable. What did you think of it? First of all, did you think that, the decision went the right way? And did you think that the scores were what they should have been on that fight? Because I have thoughts.
Well, I let me add something else. I thought that it was the right decision, but I think that David Adelaide won that fight for the business of boxing, because we need a flamboyant, naughty, messes up after doing the come on and get me that. Oh, I've shipped one. That kind of thing is stuff we like. And when you look at the Moses Atama and Dillian White press conferences and their head-to-head, certainly no character there at all. Nothing. All that, I respect the hell out of you, bruv. Same here, bruv. That's not working for me. But someone who can do all of that in the ring and then get put down, I thought, I think you might have just pressed the starting gun trigger on another part of your career, actually, David.
I thought he did really well. I agree with you exactly on the antics are something that boxing needs, especially in the heavyweight division, because you know as well as I do, we've talked about it many, many times, what we think about the heavyweight division, how there's just very lackluster in character, not in skill and power, because there are guys out there like that. Philippe Hrgovic did a fantastic job. I don't know what he had implanted into his jawbones. Like he's got some Wolverine, titanium, adamantium, something going on, because David Adelaide hit him with some stuff. Like he hit him with some stuff, and he just took it. He took it like a champ, which makes you believe, like, how hard does Daniel Dubois hit? Because we know that he's got a win over Hrgovic. But when you're talking the heavyweight division, you have to talk about 100% David Adelaide moving forward I'm telling you, look me in the eyes right now, David, if you're watching this, when you watch this, because you will watch this, because we're going to tag the shit out of you in this. Keep up the antics. Forget about the record. Records don't matter, okay? Because at the end of the day, I couldn't tell you what the record of well, I know what Moses's is because of the last weekend, but I couldn't tell you what Brian Norman Jr.'s record is. I couldn't tell you what Shakur Stevenson's record is without looking it up. I couldn't tell you what Boots Ennis's record is without looking it up. But these are all great fighters that I enjoy watching fight because of the way that they fight. So by all means, David, go out there. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. I love it.
If you're talking, you're right. If you're talking about, let's just add two other British heavyweights. Let's talk about Fabio Wardley and let's talk about Buatsi. Let's, for instance, talk about those two, just off the top of my head. Then he's miles ahead of them now because of the antics. Because he's on he's on everybody. Well, he's on a lot of people's tongue now. On the end of the tongue now. They're thinking, well, he had a damn good go, and you're right about Hrgovic's jaw. I have seldom seen a heavyweight hit with lefts and rights and rights and lefts. We had 10 seconds of bang, 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 all detonating on the jaw, and him just standing there like a comedy show, taking it and then coming back. Extraordinary. But David Adelaide he has announced himself here, and when the boxing and the business of boxing work together, that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely it is. Now, then we go to the main event very quickly because I say very quickly, Steve, because that's what it was. That's what it was. We told you so. We absolutely told everybody, watch out for Moses. And it's the real deal. He's got real power. He's got real skills. Now, is that going to equate to him getting a fight with, Alexander Usyk out the gate? No, I don't think so. I don't think that happens yet. However, you could have a really fun fight with him and David Adelaide. You could have a really fun fight with him and Hrgovic. Let's see what that power really equates to if you put him in there with Hrgovic after the showing that he had. Or let's throw two young guys. One of them happens to be 20 years old, and the other one happens to be 27 years old. And the 27-year-old happens to be Daniel Dubois. Now, let's see if this fight can happen, because this brings us to our first story here, Steve. Daniel Dubois, can you get this, has fired his trainer. After his loss to Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois threw a hissy fit, said, I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. I don't want to play with you anymore. Which you would think that's not a problem. I mean, fighters do this all the time, right? It happens. Usually they're with somebody for so long that eventually it's just not working out and they've got to move on. New energy, that new, the new invigoration that they all talk about and stuff. The problem I have with this is Daniel Dubois' fourth trainer now that he's going into with Tony Sims, I believe his name is, because he fired Don Charles. This is his fourth trainer in 8 years in the world of heavyweight boxing. I'll go you one step further, Steve, before I get your comments on this one. Don Charles is the guy that got him wins over Jarrell Miller, Philip Hrgovic, and the biggest win of his entire existence, Anthony Joshua, to become that champion. Then he has one fight right after it against the real champion, because he gave you guys a belt to make you relevant, Daniel. Like, come on. Let's think about where you are here. Alexander Usyk gave up a belt so that you guys could have a prize, so that you could sell a fight, because neither one of you were selling that fight on your own. And then you came out and you lost that fight. And the first thing you do is you fire your trainer. And if you do this many times, I'm a firm believer that maybe it's not the trainer. Maybe it's the fighter. What do you think, Steve?
Well, we said it when Anthony Joshua did it. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference? What's the difference between, Anthony Joshua's got that thing at the back of him, which is about the psychological shot fighter thing. And I'm wondering whether that's the same with Dubois. I mean, yes, I understand that new trainer smell. I understand that it's lovely, but Tony Sims is a very solid, fundamentally sound trainer, and maybe he's looking at the fundamentals here. He is at the moment, of course, Tony Sims training Joey Essex. You might not know of him in the States, but he's quite an interesting character here in Britain, and he'll soon be having his first boxing fight because boxing is shite as far as that's concerned. So anyway, but Sims is a great, has done a load of stuff, great trainer. However, I just wonder whether it's, as you say, him not having a look at himself. I don't think there's a kind of existential crisis with him in the way that there is with Anthony Joshua. I really think there is, because Joshua thinks about things too much. I'm not sure that Daniel Dubois does think about things too much. I suspect people have to point out where his socks go. But I think that it does show that he's a bit dumbfounded and wondering why he possibly lost to Usyk. Now, Tyson Fury is the same, actually. There's no man alive who can beat me. Well, there is. And he's called Alexander Usyk. I'm the best. Nobody can beat me. And there's all of that kind of stuff going on. And I know it's a confidence game in boxing, but really what you do need to do is sit down and watch tape of when you failed and see what happens, see what you can do better. And it's you that needs to do it, not your trainer, because they can put you in a room and they can say, jab, 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 step back, jab, jab, hands up, but you have to be able to do it.
100%. And the shot that you took right square to the mush had nothing to do with your trainer, bro. You got punched in the face by the best in the world. Plain and simple. There's nothing to do with your trainer. But I've said this before, Steve, and I still stand by it. I mean, Daniel Dubois is a 27-year-old human being. I'm not going to call him a 27-year-old man because I don't think that he's acting like one. And I don't think he does that quite often, to be honest with you. We've said this in the past where I've said that he has a very childlike approach to a lot of things. And that's fine. You got to do that. But in doing so, I think that maybe this might be a case where he doesn't like to take the loss. He doesn't like to take the criticism. And he also doesn't like to take accountability for himself not because he doesn't know how or anything like that, or just refuses to. I don't think he's ever been taught how to. I don't think that that's ever happened, because I think that he entered this game in this sport at such a young age that all of that accountability for your own failures, your own shortcomings, it's not something that he's ever been taught how to do. And so he just keeps perpetuating the same kind of antics, the same kind of motion, thinking that the outcome is going to be something different. And it might be for a couple of fights, just like it was with Don Charles. But then what's going to happen as soon as he gets another loss or a loss after that, then it's going to start messing with his own brain, because the doubt is going to be in there. Well, nobody can work with me. Then he falls off the deep end and he becomes the John Daly of boxing. We don't need any of that. Although shout out John Daly. Love that man. Fantastic.
Extremely entertaining. But I think that's right. And it equates to me with the airlessness of boxing, the camp to camp. And when you're not in camp, you've got your entourage saying you should have been the champ. I don't know why you're not the champ. You're still the champ, even though you lost. That equates to me with the child actor situation. But you're straight out of school, and you're in a successful film or you're in a successful series, and then it ends. And not just where do you go for your career, but what is your life?
Right.
I'm not saying that's that way with Daniel Dubois, of course. But what I am saying is that, as you say, there's a simplicity, not about him, but about the life he's led. And, at some point, that's going to have to change. And
First
of all,
he's going to have to move out of his house or kick his parents out, because you look at that wasn't okay. Did he fire his dad? His dad's throwing a party the day that he's supposed to be at a fight. Daniel Dubois has to walk to his own championship fight. Did he carry his belt? Did he have it FedExed? You know what I mean? Is it over the shoulder? Like as he's walking down the street, nobody offered to pick up the champ and give him a ride. His dad couldn't even have that arranged from somebody at the party. This is the life that he's in. How are you supposed to do this? We've all seen how Rocky 3 played out. Not good, bro.
Prediction for the fight. Hey.
Just saying.
Yes, you're right. I mean, the ridiculous situation of the gathering, not party. How dare you call it a party, Tidster? They won't call it a party. It's a gathering.
Was there juggalos there? Was there fucking ICP was there? A gathering. Piss off.
It sounds like some kind of cult. You are now entering the gathering. Put on the robe. He had to take a journey, had to go out from the gathering without telling them, I presume, slip out and go for a drive for 20 minutes, is the report, because the gathering wasn't helping him. So, and it did against Joshua, but not this time. It's not great. And we've had story after story after story, haven't we, with boxing? You know, it comes up quickly, it goes away quickly. And I don't know what's next for Dubois, but I suspect it's it's steps down, isn't it?
I mean, the window, you know how quick that opens and you know how quick it closes in the world of boxing. We've said it before in heavyweight boxing, it seems to be a little bit longer. And you never know when somebody's going to just, say, you know what, I'm out. Now think about this, because this leads me to something else. When we're talking about heavyweight boxing, we're talking about maybe a light heavyweight who's retired and has been retired since 2017, something like that. But why did he retire? That's right. I'm talking about Andre Ward. Is Andre Ward actually coming back to boxing, Steve, or is he just trolling everybody right now? What do you think?
I don't think either of those. Well, I do think he's not coming back. I don't think he's trolling anybody. I think it's just that boxers can't keep away. So they need that little bit of time in the sun. If you look at Carl Froch, if you look at his YouTube channel, it's all about, I did that. It was me that did that first. I could have beat him. It was me. And you just think you're revved up all the time. And I kind of feel...
Remind me again, Carl, what happened in your fight with Andre Ward? Remind me again how that worked out for you. Did you do that first? Sorry, Carl. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, Steve, you were saying.
Yes, Carl won't like that. And, he might find out where you live. You don't seem concerned. I live in England, so I'm a bit more concerned now. I just think it's about, I think there's two things. I think the first thing is I get the attention. I think it's partially to do with that. But I think it's also about, and I podcasted about this, I think it's about Joshua losing control as Jake Paul was almost doing a while ago before he took the Chavez Jr. fight, losing control of his opponents. So everyone's coming out of the woodwork, and very quickly Eddie Hearn has moved to say, that's not going to happen, Andre, it's not going to happen. But because he's not saying whether or not the Tony Yoka fight will be on, or whether or not the Jake Paul fight will be on, the longer he leaves it, the more people are going to pop up and say, I might say I'll have a go. I might as well. I'll have a go. Incontinent 58-year-old. Incontinent 58-year-old.
Do you think this could be a ploy for Andre Ward to kind of slide in the side door and get a fight with Jake Paul? Andre Ward's only 41 years old. So I mean he's older than the boxing thing. You know what I mean? That age is gone. That window is gone to be competitive. I think that, the young guys, I think Moses probably sleeps him. You don't want that to happen. But think about when Andre retired and why. And maybe he talked about this, maybe he didn't. I can't remember whether or not. But if you look at what the competition was for him at that time, I'd retire too. Because it really wasn't that much out there outside of Kovalev that he had to fight a couple of times, which means if the competition isn't out there, the money's not out there. So now you're just a young guy getting punched in the head for nickels, no matter how good you are. So he could come back and have a fight and we would all be interested in it. I'm telling you, Andre Ward, side dooring this thing, and now you've got a competition on who's going to take the fight first, either Andre Ward or Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul.
But get this, and we've talked about it many times. The power player in this, Jake Paul, because Jake Paul's silent. And while they are all lining up, and you could be right about Andre Ward, you could be right. That's a good call. But I think that he's been silent, Jake Paul, and really, he may well not dip his toe in that anymore. He may be looking for legitimacy and belts and all of that. So he's got the power here. And when Eddie Hearn said, "Well, I think Anthony Joshua was the front runner to fight Jake Paul,"
Sure.
Front runner. Yeah. What do you mean? Don't you mean I think Jake Paul would fall over himself to fight a boxer as fantastic as my charge AJ? By saying he's the front runner, you just gave Jake Paul the A side.
Absolutely.
So he's got the control here, and he's played it beautifully, because he was losing control about 9 months ago before the Chavez Jr. fight. That has pitched him into so many opportunities that he can do what he blooming well likes now.
Well, we just saw the WBC recently reinstate Manny Pacquiao. Ricky Hatton has a fight coming up. We just saw Badu Jack come back from retirement and regain his belt. So there might be some unification stuff there. It's not out of the realm, Steve, to think that Andre Ward could get reinstated, relicensed, and at the age of 41, have a fight against Jake Paul. Because that adds a legitimate, if it's not Anthony Joshua, I'm going to say it here. If it's not Anthony Joshua, it's going to be Andre Ward, because that's the fight. That's why I think Jake is silent right now. And I don't know. I haven't talked to Jake. He's busy. His brother just got married. He's having a great time. Shout out Jake Paul. Don't sue us. But I think that what you're going to see is that he's waiting for that Anthony Joshua fight. If that's going to happen, fantastic. That's the number one. If it's not going to happen, Andre Ward isn't a bad second. People know who Andre is. When you start selling his career and the ability, retired, undefeated, knocked out, unbelievable resume Andre Ward has, you can't deny Jake Paul legitimacy after fighting a guy like Andre Ward 100%. And now he's already in the rankings. Jake Paul's ranked number 14 or 15, whatever it is. He's in the rankings. So it wouldn't be surprising if Andre Ward could get that. I mean, if we're just handing out rankings in the WBO, why not? Shit, did you get the letter? What's your rank? What are you ranked at?
655th. But, I mean, it'll come up, obviously. Obviously, when I fight Dubois next month, that'll come up. And then I'll get the fight with AJ.
You're fighting Tony Dubois down at the pub, are you?
I am, yeah. Last time it didn't go well. He spilt my Tizer, and I like a soft drink, and it didn't go well. But next time, I mean, it spilled out into the car park, where I'm usually at my best. Perfect. But with this bad back, it's never going to end fantastically well. However, next time it does, I'll send you a flyer, and I might live stream it. When I say live stream it, it'll be a phone on top of a pole. But I'll be getting pay-per-view on that.
Oh, well, perfect. I mean, and there's the pay-per-view points. You could be the co-main with an Andre Ward fight. Co-main Andre Ward and Jake Paul. Get a hold of MVP and see if you can get it on that thing. Listen.
Can I just raise something with you again? I think you might have poo-pooed this last time I said it. What are the chances of Jake Paul and MVP doing a side promotion deal for Legends? What's the possibility of that? Getting Legends back and doing that? Is that anything he's thinking about, do you reckon?
I think the talk of Legends coming back is I think a wide open discussion in itself, because where's the cutoff? Because there has to be a cutoff age, as well as I do, because we saw this with Mike Tyson. And I'm not even talking about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight, right? We saw it in Mike's previous fight, and his opponent wasn't too quick to sign up for a second fight. So when you're talking about that age and these fighters that could come back, sure, you're going to have what, Tyson Fury in there? You know what I mean? Are we talking like a seniors tour, right? But then who do you put them in there with when you're talking like this is the attraction that you see at the indie wrestling show where you've brought in Hacksaw Jim Duggan to fight, Ivan Koloff? I mean, I would love to see bloody Ivan Koloff. I'm sure that, I have a bloody Ivan Koloff up there on one of those shelves. It's fantastic. But that's the equivalency for it. And then I think you open yourself up for the discussion of, are you being abusive to old people at this point because you're allowing them to get punched in the head? You know what I mean? Does it become, and then at that point, does it become bum fights all over again? And we're paying old retired, the Klitschko's to get, MVP tattooed on their foreheads or something like that. Like, I don't know. I get what you're getting at, but I think that there has to be a line. Like, I don't think 41 is too old for somebody like Andre Ward to come back. Obviously, we know that Manny Pacquiao was able to do it. I think that there has to be some kind of cutoff, but I also think that there is definitely a market for it.
You soured me on the idea as soon as you said the Klitschko brothers coming back. That was it for me. I decided not to bother now. That's it. I won't mention it again.
We're not opening that door ever again, right? Keep that one closed. Well, you know what? That might be a hell of a gig and a hell of an angle for Ben Shalom to go if he's got this new TV deal with BBC. Could you imagine putting, you know what I mean? The history of British boxing, you talk about it and then you keep that history going because, there's a great place to, get that Eubank fight happening. Maybe we can see Connor Ben or Nigel Ben and Chris Sr. go at it.
What you do is this. I think you're right. And what you do is this. You do a big reality TV warm-up for that, and they fight one round.
One round.
At the end of it, they fight one round. It's how you sell it up to that point. You fight one round, and the round is a 3-minute round or 2-minute round even. But the show before that and the war and the ring walks take about 50 minutes and to an hour to 58 minutes. I think that would, some people would absolutely love that, including me. But just the one round or 2 minutes. But even then, you're in trouble.
I think you could go 3 because you're going to give them one. If it's a 2-minute round, you're going to give them one round of just warming up, get the crowd going in behind it too, right? That 2 minutes is full of boo-yays. You hit the corner, I hit the corner. We're booking it like independent wrestling now, but that's what that first round is going to be. Second round is going to be, you pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe one guy gets an advantage. Third round, same pace and stuff like that, but the other guy gets the advantage. And then when it's all said and done, it's a draw and Sick Kids makes lots of money. I think it's a fantastic idea, Steve. I love that idea. In England, oh my God. Oh, you guys would eat that up. Let's go.
How long are we giving that on the clock? Couple of days, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the next I told you so. That's going to be the new segment that we're going to do here on the Bees of Boxing. It's just going to be, we told you so again. It seems to be working out and it's fantastic. Look, here's the thing before we go very quickly. There is another big fight coming up. I know you've had a chance to look at the card. A lot of people are saying that for Terrence Crawford that this is a gimmick fight for him against Canelo. It's not really about a legacy or trying to do any of that stuff. It's a gimmick. It's a money grab because of his age and everything like that. And it might very well be. We've become very used to this stuff. So what do we look for on these cards? It's not necessarily the main event all the time. The main event's there to sell. But that undercard, that's where the magic happens. Have you taken a good enough look at this card yet and tell me which fight it is that you're looking forward to most out of this?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to the main event
Okay.
because of the ridiculousness of it. So, I'm interested in, because for me, it's like influencer boxing, because it's coming up massively, all of that. Canelo's not at his best. I think it's a pick'em. I really think it's a pick'em, and I think it's the ridiculousness of it as well. I pick Crawford here,
So
but
do I.
only because I don't like Canelo very much.
Well, either do I. But here's the thing. Do you think this fight would be happening if Canelo was still undefeated?
No, but also I also think it wouldn't be happening if he had wrangled his choices better. So the skull situation, for instance, which is, I made myself look a bit foolish by refusing to fight him. Now I'm having to fight him. And then when I do fight him, he doesn't turn up. So rather than people saying, "Oh, actually, you were brilliant, weren't you?" What they're saying is, and what I was saying was, why'd you duck him? Because actually, were you afraid of him because of his name or because of his undefeated record? What was it? Aren't you supposed to be the prescient fighter here? I don't quite understand. So if it wasn't for that kind of thing, and the way that the media has suggested, pick your fights, make your money, that's it, payday, go home. If they hadn't been pushing that, I don't think we would have had this fight either.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Well, I just thought about, Canelo has what, 2 or 3 more left on this contract, and then he very well could be looking at one of those senior fights that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Could you imagine we live in a world where one day Canelo Alvarez becomes the sideshow attraction on a boxing card? Could you imagine? Canelo under a big tent next to the bearded lady in a pile of cow shit.
I would love that. I would love who can stay in the ring for 3 rounds with him. Okay, you get $100. But
imagine Canelo ends up back in Mexico fighting in bars.
That's not going to happen.
What?
But if he loses to Crawford, then because everything's been on Crawford, which is okay, he's got nothing to lose because, okay, I want the money, but everyone wants the fight. And it wasn't going to happen unless I agreed to come up massively. That's dangerous for me. I'm going to do that. So everything's on him. Okay, I'm pleasing the fans because I'm taking all of the danger on myself. Canelo just waiting and saying, drop the money there, will you? Now, so he's not doing anything. He's got everything to gain, Crawford, and absolutely nothing to lose. If Canelo loses to him, that's done. It's done. I don't know where you go after that.
Yeah, you go home. You go home. Now,
yeah.
In this world that that we're making side bets. Let's say you're Canelo and Crawford, and you make your own personal side bet, but it can't be money. Let's say, let's say you're Canelo. What would you want to bet for Crawford as a side bet on a fight like this?
Monetarily or
no, it can't be money. It can't be money. How about that? Like maybe, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, if Crawford wins, he gets to be announced. He gets like a key to Mexico, right? And maybe if Canelo wins, he gets an official N-word pass, so he gets to say it when he's around all the brothers.
Or he gets a free pass to eat as much tainted horse meat as might, unfortunately and obviously by mistake, comes into his food chain. He gets to eat any of that.
Can you imagine how jacked he's going to be on his last fight? On his last fight, where he's like, "What do I care? I'm pissing hotter than hell. Go right ahead."
It's going to be rage.
Right? It's going to be so much. It's going to look like Joe Rogan, all full of niacin, just wired out of his nines.
Yo, Rogan. Now listen, pick another fight on the card that you love.
Oh, absolutely. The Brian Norman Jr. Devin Haney fight, because I want to see Devin Haney. I want to see him get so beat that his dad Bill jumps into the ring and gets beat as well. That's really what I want to see.
He comes in with a chair and falls over the chair and impales himself on the chair and then gets beaten up as well. As I said, I knew you'd pick that one because we love Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Jr. is knocking about, and I think Devin Haney is. I really think he's fallen out of love with boxing, and I think he's knocking about, and I think that when you meet somebody who has a sledgehammer that's fast, then and can move around and beguile you, I think that you're in definite trouble. This is, as I said, I think the other week, the clowning of Devin Haney, and I think that we will see that now.
I think so. I think that we're only less than a year away where we see a fight between Devin Haney and Adrian Broner.
Adrian Broner said in the Ring magazine, if I remember rightly this week, that he's completely potless. He's got no cash whatsoever. Didn't he say that?
Nothing. He has nothing, which is not surprising coming from a guy who is working with Don King. I mean, he killed a man. What more do you want to know about the guy?
I hear what you're saying there entirely. I hear what you're saying. Hello, is that Don? Yeah, guess what he's just said. Hello, hello, Don.
Hey, talk to Carl Froch. All right, he'll set it straight.
Carl, I've got his address. It is a jack card because you've got Bam Rodriguez on there as well. So yes. I mean, it's almost as if they've said, "Oh, let's just put all, let's just get all the goodies out." And I mean, he's right at the bottom of the card when you look at it. Bam Rodriguez at the bottom of the card. We'll just start off with that. It won't start off with that, but it looks like we'll just start with that little teaser.
It's gonna be one hell of a fight. And listen, don't sleep on the boxing. You may not know some of the names between now and then with the boxing that's going on, because there isn't a whole heck of a lot of star power on some of the fights that are coming up, but guaranteed you're going to get to see some good boxing. So we're going to talk more about that next time. And Steve, as always, it is an absolute pleasure, a thrill as always. Listen, I know that you were talking about some music recently. I saw that some hidden gems, if you were saying that's out there. What is on the docket for World Weary Guy 1?
Well, there's a Whitesnake album. Whitesnake are a band who I grew up loving, and I've spoken to Mr. Coverdale, to Cov, for the magazine. He just basically controlled the whole thing and then said, "Have you got enough, Squire? Goodbye," and that was it. So professional. Calm and lovely, a lovely gent. But what Whitesnake have done is they've got a heritage thing going on towards the end of their career. But then they said, okay, so these albums that you know very well are coming out deluxe, but now we're going to make 2 bangers as well. So they made Good to Be Bad, and they did Forevermore. And Forevermore is their final album, 2011, I think it is. So it's a long time ago, but it's their final crop of original songs. It's fantastic, and most people don't know it because they thought, how dare Whitesnake carry on? So it's coming out in a deluxe version. I can't wait because I've been shouting about this for quite some time.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, shout out Whitesnake on all the wonderful things that they've done. And without Whitesnake, a lot of people wouldn't have had that childhood crush on Tawny Katane and the old Ouija board movie that was put out there. It's fantastic. What a wonderful piece of art that was, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm not even giving you the name of it.
Yeah.
Such shite.
Yeah. But extraordinary. And it's part of my childhood. Favorite Whitesnake album for me? Slide It In. That's unusual that people would say that, but for me, Slide It In, right to the top, baby.
I mean,
as he says.
Ain't ever going to stop. Listen, there's a couple of things that you got to remember around here, Steve, and for all of you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Please tell all your friends if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, leave us a comment. Tell us what you'd like to talk about because we'll be sure to do such a thing. You can do all of that. You can on all of our podcast providers on YouTube. You can even send us an email if you'd like at the law live audio wrestling at gmail.com. It's a fantastic thing. You can see all of Steve's stuff over at World Worry Guy 1. I have some stuff out there, but don't bother. Just come and watch it all here. It's a fantastic thing. There's a couple of things that you have to remember, Steve, in the world of boxing and the world in general. I mean, Wu-Tang, as long as you got to protect your neck, and they are for the children. I mean, while you're at it, might as well remember to tuck that chin.